Putting up with family at the holidays can be chaotic and stressful, but things can be even more difficult for those of us that are trans or non-binary or lesbian, gay, bi, pan, or any other identity in the LGBTQ plus spectrum. So today I want to talk about some of the ways that may help you cope and take care of yourself if you have unsupportive or even just ignorant family members. So whether you've come out to your family or not, spending time with family members who don't support you or are just unsupportive of LGBTQ plus people in general, if they don't yet know that you identify in the community, can be quite painful. I feel it's important to note that spending time with family at the holidays will likely look different for many of us this year due to COVID-19. But you still may be spending time with your family virtually or having really small in-person gatherings with just a few family members instead of like the normal full family if that's something that you do. Or maybe you won't have to spend time with family this year, which may potentially be a blessing in disguise. Maybe one of the only good things to come out of 2020 if you're dreading the holidays. So some of the tips I'll discuss may not apply to you this year, but it may be applicable in a future year. It may be something that you can relate to. All that being said, regardless of whether or not we're spending time with family this holiday season, the holidays may also be especially lonely or isolating for many of us this year due to things like social distancing and stay-at-home orders. And a few of the things that I will talk about can still be helpful with that piece of isolation. My first coping tip: clarify what you want out of the holiday season. Ask yourself, what am I hoping to get out of a holiday visit with parents or with other family members? What am I expecting? And what am I willing to put up with? Taking some time to reflect on what you want out of holiday time with family, or maybe more accurately, what you don't want, can make an upcoming in-person or even virtual trip more manageable. It's a sort of mental preparation for an experience that may be something you're really not looking forward to. And next tip, don't be afraid to turn down invitations to spend time with your family, especially if you can't be yourself, or if you can't bring your partners with you, or you don't feel safe spending time with family because of COVID or other reasons. I remember my first Thanksgiving after coming out, my first holiday season after coming out. I wasn't allowed to go home as Chloe because of what my grandparents might have thought if they were to find out that I'm trans, because they didn't know at this point back in 2015. So I put my foot down and said no to my dad, who is thankfully very supportive these days, so don't worry, and instead spent the holidays with a friend and her family. And I realize that alternate option may not be an option for some, but if it's too painful, don't be afraid to say no. And tip number 3, take some time for yourself. Make time to do these things that invigorate you, regardless if it is with family members or if it's completely on your own or with friends or with your partner. I know it's cliche to say, but self-care is super important, especially if you're in a distressing environment like an unsupportive family environment. This tip is also extra important for those of you that are not able to get away, for those of you that live at home with your parents or other family members. Some of these steps of just being like, hey, I'm not going to go see family, that's not always possible for everyone. So taking breaks, finding that time to get away to your room or a place in the house or outside the house, whether it's just to rest or pet your cat or call a supportive friend or do something to distract you like play video games or watch a favorite TV show or movie. Being around family can quickly use up your spoons, quickly use up your emotional energy. So remember to take that time to recharge. For me, it's like all of those things I mentioned, especially taking time to cuddle with Tipsy. Kind of related to tip number 3, tip 3.5 if you will, try to find time for physical activity if you can. I'll admit I'm not always the best at this, but even if it's just going out for a walk or doing simple stretching in your room, exercise, as you probably know, can do wonders for your mental health, not just your physical health. Tip number 4, if you can, prioritize family members that are supportive. Again, if you have supportive family members, of course. Maybe there are only certain family members you want to spend time with at the family gathering, so try to make the best of a not so great situation and spend as much time as you can with the people you actually enjoy being around, or at least those you tolerate the most. I'm very fortunate that my parents actually want to spend time with me at the holidays. I just unfortunately can't spend time with my brother, my sister-in-law, or her family even if I wanted to, because they still act like I don't exist after nearly 6 years. So in my case, I don't have to spend time with a lot of those unsupportive family members because they wouldn't even show up to anything that I'm at in the first place. Which, lots of mixed feelings about that. But tip number 5, don't forget your chosen family. Spend time with people outside of your biological family. Spend time with chosen family and friends, especially if your biological family is an unsupportive disappointment. Spend time virtually or in person if you can safely do so with the people who love you for you, whether they are chosen family or even if they're family by blood, because I believe biological family can also be part of your chosen family. The family we choose is often more supportive than the family we're given, so choose to spend time with people who actually treat you like family. Tip number 6, be assertive and don't forget to stand up for yourself. Correct people when they say the wrong thing, like if somebody uses the wrong pronouns or the wrong name, somebody misgenders you or dead names you. Or if someone refers to your partner as just a friend or a roommate, rather than having the courage to respectfully and actually identify them as your partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance, husband, wife, or any other term that you use for your significant others. It's clearly easier said than done to do these sorts of things, and obviously also use your best judgment as to how safe it is to stand up to certain family members. But luckily for me, I've been single for so long that it's been a while since I've even had to worry about that partner piece. I just get the, "Are you dating anyone?" question, and I say, "Nope, let's move on." Yay me. But seriously, standing up for yourself is important because it can help your family members see that this is important to you, that this is a part of who you are, that this isn't a joke, that this isn't a phase. Standing up to them can help them realize that, hey, this is actually important. And it does take time for family members to come around sometimes because it is a big shift. And that brings me into tip number 7, provide reassurance to your family that you're still the same person. Many people often think that we're completely different people and that our old selves are completely dead after we come out. And yes, again, it does often take time for parents and other family members to really get to know and accept you after you come out. But reassuring everyone that you're still the same person, just a more complete and authentic version of yourself, can help with that process of acceptance. It took me time to realize that, yes, there are still many pieces of myself pre-transition that are very much still a part of me, and reassuring people that it's yes, there's so many parts, all these different parts and experiences in the past are still part of who I am today. It's just I wasn't allowed or didn't feel allowed, or wasn't safe, or didn't feel able to fully be my full self, and now I can be. And tell them that they get the experience to be able to be around the full you, which is a gift to not just yourself, but everyone around you. And also remember, it took you some time to accept and love yourself, and you might still be on that journey. So it's going to take time for other people in your life to do the same. That doesn't mean you shouldn't also stand up for yourself. It's about finding that balance. Stand up for yourself, but pick and choose your battles, which is a very hard and nuanced place to stand in. Which is why, again, sometimes it might be best to just say no to certain invitations if you can. And tip number 8, especially for people who aren't out to family yet, but really for anyone who can't be around family this year for any reason, whether it's safety or you just don't want to be around them because you can't stand them. But especially for those of you that aren't out to family yet, who can't be yourself with anybody in your family, try to find at least one person that you can be yourself with at some point during the holiday season. Multiple points if you can. Whether it's in person or through Zoom or chatting with supportive friends online or even just chatting with people online that maybe don't even know you in the real world. Finding these supportive online trans spaces where you can just chat with other trans people and be yourself, and they don't have to know you in the real world unless you want them to. But the point is try to find any space that you can to give you some reprieve from a painful environment and provide you a reminder that there are other people out there like you, and there are other people out there who will love and affirm you for you. And I want to say, none of this I'm saying is me telling you that you have to or should come out to anyone if you're not ready to do so. Coming out is stressful and scary for so many of us. I don't know if I could find somebody who would say that coming out was not stressful, even if it goes perfectly well after the fact. You're gonna be sweating bullets probably and gonna be super stressed beforehand. Like, I can say, every time I came out to somebody, it did get easier with time, but every time I came out to somebody, especially early in my transition, it was scary because you can't control how other people react. You may have an idea of how certain people will react, but it is scary. It's rewarding as hell when you get that positive reaction and realize that there are people out there, again, that love me for me. But there's never a perfect time to come out, unfortunately. Find that self-love and affirmation and validation in any way that you can. But don't feel like you have to come out if that's not what you feel comfortable doing so yet. It doesn't make you any less valid. It doesn't make you less of a trans person or anything like that. It just means you're still very early in your journey, and that's okay. Our journeys look different, and we all do it at our own pace. And I obviously realize that some of these tips are much easier said than done. Which is unfortunately the case with a lot of coming out things and a lot of transition steps and just being ourselves in the world. But I do hope that at least some of these tips can be helpful for you. Find the people who love you for who you are, and take time for taking care of yourself physically and emotionally. And know that you have my love from afar for what that's worth. So what are your thoughts on my tips for coping with family? And have you used any of these yourself? What are your plans for the holidays, and are there other tips that you want to share with everyone? Other things that you've done that really helped you out in these sorts of difficult times? Please let us know down in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Tipsy and I love you so very much and hope that you're staying as happy and healthy as you can during these tough times, doing what you need to do to take care of yourselves and surround yourself with the people that really love you. If you've not done so already, please be sure to give this a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Love you all. Bye for now.